Wan was on the phone with her mom, trying to reassure her. Wan, yes, he takes care of me. You don't need to worry. She spoke softly, hoping to ease her concern. Are you sure, Wan? You don't mean it? Yes, I mean it. He even comes home early from work. He hasn't neglected me at all. You were right. The baby has brought us closer. Mom sighed in relief, a small smile tugging at her lips. I hope so. That's it what I want to hear. Alright, take care of yourself too. She undercalled, feeling a little. It has been 1.5 years since Van and Taehyung got married, and now when is 8 months, the was unexpected. Neither of them had been ready to start a family just yet. But one night everything changed that evening. His mother had secretly slipped something into their food, a little push she believed they needed. The next morning, Taehyung and Van woke up at realization of what happened. Van had been terrified to tell Taehyung, but she remembered how it made he told his parents that he hasn't wanted for children. She feared his reaction, afraid he might not accept the baby. But the day she confessed in front of everyone, things turned. Sebastian left his breath. To her surprise, after a few moments of silence, he accepted the child. He stood. Seeing them things has been different. They have become more attentive, coming home early from work and making sure she was comfortable. The baby had though unexpected. Despite the acceptance of the baby, his workaholic nature hadn't changed. He often found himself in work, having one feeling isolated. He had numerous nurses and maids to take care of her, making sure she was physically looked after. But that was truly great for him. His presence, his comfort, she felt distance between them, even though he was trying his own way. The pregnancy hadn't been easy to her. After another call with her mom, Wan gently placed the phone on the counter. Searing pains all through her stomach, causing her face to contort in agony. She groaned, clutching her belly tightly as the pain overwhelmed her. She had been sitting on her bed, leaning against the headboard, but now she couldn't move an inch. The pain was too intense. Hearing her groans, a nurse rode in from the next door. Miss Van, are you feeling pain again? Her voice strained, biting her lip to stop herself from screaming. What kind of question is that? Yes, I'm in pain. She gasped, her body trembling as the pain intensified. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she gripped her sheets beneath her, wishing there was there, not just for the physical care. The nurse immediately called a maid to bring her medicine, and within the minutes they were at her side. The nurse helped her to sit up carefully, her movements slow and calculated, while the maid massaged her swollen feet and legs, trying to surmise. Nurse, trying to relax Miss Van, the medicine will help with the pain. The nurse held her a small cup of pills and glass of water. Once swallowed the medicine, her hands trembling slightly. It was always like this. Another night of unbearable pain. Another dose of medicine and more lonely hours spent wondering when Taehyung would come home. The maid continued a gentle massage, but Van barely felt relief. Her mind was elsewhere, swimming in her emotions. She missed Taehyung deeply, despite all the people around her. The house was empty without him. He might have hired all help she needed, but it was his touch, his voice, and she truly longed for after some time. The pain dulled slightly. Hours passed before the familiar sound of the door opening echoed through the house. Then had finally returned home from the office. He loosened his tie as he walked down the hallway space, weary from the long day. When he reached the bedroom, he opened the door quickly. His eyes immediately fell on Val lying on the bed. She was facing the opposite side. Her body curled up slightly from the ankle. He couldn't see her face, but something about her, the way she was holding herself, told him she wasn't asleep. He moved closer, his footsteps soft against the hardwood floor. Sitting on the edge of the bed, he gently placed his hand on her shoulder. His voice low. When, how are you? Is the pain any better? He paused, his hand moving to her belly. And how is our baby doing? But Van didn't answer. She remained still, her back to him, silent warrior, then leaned in closer, gently caressing her hair with his finger. He spoke again, his tone filled with concern. Van, please talk to me. You're not alone in this, you know. I'm here. Still no response. Taehyung frowned slightly, wondering if she had fallen asleep. He leaned closer, trying to see her face, and when that he noticed she wasn't asleep at all. Her hand quickly moved to her face, wiping away the tears had silently fallen. She had been crying. Taehyung's heart sank. When his voice softened further, a mix of care and concern filling his chest. One kept her face turned away, but her shoulder trembled slightly, betraying her emotion. She had tried so hard to not cry and often, but the weight of her loneliness and pain was too much to bear. Without hesitation, Taehyung shifted closer, wrapping his arm around her gently. You don't have to hide your tears from me, he whispered, resting his forehead against the back of the head. I know I've been working too much. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. One finally turned toward him, her tear-straight face now visible. Her eyes were filled with mixture of sadness and frustration. You say that, but you'll never hear them. I need you more, not the nurse, not the maids. You, then her voice cracked with emotion and she spoke. Then her sound at her words he had thought of providing for her, making sure she had the best care would pay now, but he realized now. I knew his light cupping her face under his hand. I have been focusing on work because I thought it would make things easier. But I see now what would you need is me. I looked into his eyes, his tears just falling. But I remained silent. Then leaned in, pressing a gentle kiss to her forehead, his thumb brushing away the trace from her cheek. From now on, I will be here more. I will do better for you and for our baby. For the first time in what felt like a days, Van allowed herself to relax a little in his arm. She had been craving his presence, his touch, his love, and now hearing his promise, she allowed herself to hope. The young held close, resting his chin on the top of her head. As they sat in a quiet room, the pain might well be there, but in that moment, I found a small sense of peace, knowing that the man she loved would be by her side. The next morning, once right from her sleep, as she faint sound of the phone ringing cut through the quiet room. She blinked slowly, her body still heavy with the fatigue. It wasn't her phone, it was Taehyung's. She watched as he rolled over, groggily reaching for his phone on the desk. Then he glanced at the screen before answering. Hello. His voice was still thick with his sleep. It was his father, Mr. Kim, calling from the company. Taehyung, you need to come to the office as soon as possible. We have a very important meeting today, one we can't afford to miss. Then found his instincts told him that leaving Van today didn't feel right. He had sensed her emotional criticality the night before, and though the nurse's maids were around, he knew she needed him, but this meeting was crucial for the company. As much as he wanted to stay by his side to follow up her responsibilities, he hung up and turned toward Van, who was now fully awake, her eyes watching him intently. That was my dad. There's a big meeting today at the office. They need me there. Yes, I did not want to leave her, but I don't feel right about leaving you alone today. Before he could finish, her forced a smile. She knew how important their work was to him and his family. She couldn't be the reason miss something significant, even though she wished him to stay. Cutting off gently, it's okay, Taehyung. She reached for his hand, squeezing gently. You should go to the meeting. I will be fine. She paused, allowing the sadness creeping up her throat. I'm not in pain anymore. The medicine helped. Taehyung frowned as he searched her face for insight of discomfort or illness. He didn't want to leave her. Are you sure I can say if you need me? This meeting, it can wait. One heart pounded at his concern, but she quickly shook her head. Not wanting to hold him back, she knew the sacrifice he has made and didn't want to do any burden. I promise I'm okay. She forced her voice to sound light, though she felt a pang in her chest. Go, Taehyung, I will rest, and the nurse is here if I need anything. The didn't some full commands, but one reassuring smile was enough to sway him. He leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to her forehead. All right, but if you feel any slightest bit of pain, I wanted to calm you, okay? One nodded. I will, don't worry. Pressing just in his stalwart sword, he glanced at her several times, clearly told. Before leaving, he made sure to speak to the nurse and maids, sternly keep a close eye on her if she feels safe and the slightest even bit comfortable, or if there is any sign of complication, call me immediately. Then walks back to one who is still sitting on the bed. He kissed her gently on the lip, this time lingering for a moment longer than usual. I will be back soon as I can rest, okay? One nodded, was turning another smile. I will go now or we will be late. With one last glance, Taehyung left the room, and soon after she heard the front door close behind him. The house once again felt eerily quiet, and Vine leaned back into it. She reassured Taehyung that she was fine, but deep down the emotional and physical exhaustion weighed heavily on her. The truth was she wasn't okay, not entirely. The pain had felt, but the emptiness of the house without him was harder to bear than a physical discomfort. She had never imagined a pregnancy would feel so isolated, even though she was surrounded by people. The nurse entered the room, checking on her once again. The life at the office, his mind still lingering on Van. He had done his best to reassure her, but something about the way she was smile at him warning didn't sit right with him. Still, he couldn't let his personal interference with the today's crucial meeting the company had been working for. As he stepped into the conference room, Taehyung was greeted by several board members, his father and a few representatives from their business partner side. Among them was a Jihyun, the daughter of one of their partners. Jihyun had been around her since their family had business ties, but there was something about her that Taehyung found off-putting. She was too eager to flirt Darius in that way, though he had never regretted it at once. But what bothered him the most was her parents believed that this marriage to Ryan was not out of love, but arrangement of convenience. Taehyung had tried to make it clear that this wasn't the case with Jihyun. Today, as the meeting began, Jihyun took the lead and presented a new management strategy for the partnership. Her voice was calm, confident, and it was clear that she had prepared meticulously. Even to Thank's father, Mr. Kim seemed impressed by her presentation, nodding along as she spoke. Jihyun, so you can see by shifting our resource allocation and focusing more on long-term investment, we can maximize the profit within the next three fiscal quarters. The room buzzed with approval. Taehyung could see that his father and the other executives were fully engaged in what she was saying. Even he couldn't deny that her ideas were sound, but something else was at play, and he could feel it if she kept extending in conversation, adding more details, more questions. Meanwhile, at home, Anne was struggling with intense pain. The nurse and the maid helped her walk slowly through the living room. For every step out, she finally collapsed onto the couch, grabbing her belly, her face filled with discomfort. Beside her, concerned. Should we call your husband? Van shook her head, trying to hold back tears. No, he's busy. He will be home soon. The nurse and maid exchanged worried looks, but let her rest. In the office, he had promised Van he wouldn't be long, and his instinct told him that today wasn't a good day to be away from too long. Yet Jihyun kept talking at that point. She made a point to ask Mr. Kim directly to the point. Mr. Kim, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we could integrate these strategies more efficiently into your company's operation. It would be an honor to collaborate with you closely to Tim Crenshaw, his vision wearing him thin. He could see what she was doing. This wasn't about a business strategy anymore. She was deliberately blocking the meeting, and everyone was so absorbed in the presentation that no one seemed to notice except him. Finally, as the meeting came to close, the people began to gentle their things. Jihyun walked over to Taehyung, smiling sweetly. They could we talk for a moment? There's something I'd like to discuss privately. Taehyung hesitated. He didn't have the time for this indeed to go back to Ryan, but Jihyun too left a little of polite refusal. He didn't want to cause a scene in front of other executives. Reluctantly, he nods. They moved to a quieter corner of the room, away from the others. Jihyun's expression changed. I know you have tough situation right now, you and Ryan. It's not easy. It is being forced into something neither of you really wanted. The young eyes narrowed. What are you talking about? Come on, you don't have to pretend with me. I have known you years and you can see in your eyes. You don't love her and she is just holding you back. I mean, look at today. You are stuck running home to her when you should be focused on the career, on your future. She stepped closer, her hand brushing against his arm. You deserve more than that. Not weighing you down. Then got identity discomfort quickly mopped in anger. He took a step back, removing her hand from his arm. Jihyun, stop. Whatever you think is happening between me and when you are wrong. Jihyun blinked momentarily, thrown off his sharp tone, but she quickly regained her composure, his smile returning. Am I there? I'm just trying to help you see what's best for you. We both know you deserve being tied down into a marriage that enough. His voice was cold now, his eyes were hard. I am not interested in whatever in it you are trying to offer me. Jihyun opened her mouth to speak, but Taehyung cut her off, his anger finally breaking. Do you think I don't love and you think this is some kind of arrangement? Who are you? You have no idea what you are talking about. His voice dropped with quite intensity that made Jihyun freeze. My wife is pregnant, yes. Maybe things didn't happen the way we planned, but I love our baby and you. He shook his head in disgust. You don't get respect like this. Jin confident we get characterized for him job, but I love. No, his voice was firm. This conversation is over. Whatever you thought was going to happen between us, whatever fantasy you have, it's not real. One is my wife and I commit to her. Without another word, the young turned on his heel and walked away, leaving Jihyun standing there, speechless and stunned. His heart was pounding and his mind was racing. The anger he felt over Jihyun simmered, but more than that, he felt. When Taehyung arrived home, he saw one sitting on the couch, sobbing, clutching her belly. The nurse was on the phone with the doctor. He rushed to her side, fear gripping him. Taehyung, are you okay, nurse? What happening? He held her hand, worry all over his face. Taehyung, it's so much. I don't feel right. I've called the doctor. She is on her way. Taehyung nodded, rubbing once for trying to comfort her. It's going to be okay. I'm here with you. Suddenly, Taehyung's phone buzzed as she ignored it first, but it rang. Persistently sighing, he answered only to hear devastating news. So dad has a terrible accident on a Busan bridge. He's still trapped in a car and police trying to get him out. Taehyung will chattered, his voice trembled as he asked Taehyung, is he alive? He asked, his voice trembling. It's a painful memory of his own mother that is similar accident 15 years ago reversed. We are not sure, sir. Please come quickly. His heart raced. He stood abruptly. Taehyung, what happened? One, that an accident. I have to go. I'm sorry. One, wait. Before she could say more, he grabbed his car key and left. Moments later, when pain was on, the nurse alarm decided they needed to go to the hospital immediately. Nurse, we have to move her now. She called for an ambulance and the maid supported Juan. Suddenly, one felt a gush of liquid from her legs, her eyes widening in fear. Juan, mom, she screamed as the pain intensified. In the ambulance, Juan tries to call Taehyung repeatedly, but he doesn't answer. Tears fall her as pain intensifies. At the hospital, the doctor informed her it's time for labor. We need a family member signature. Doctor, we need someone to sign the consent forms. Where is your family? Viner was trembling. I came here alone. Without hesitation, she signed the papers herself, her hand shaking, tears streaming down her face. After an hour of wait at the hospital, Taehyung sat down beside his mom, who was sobbing into his shoulder. His own exhaustion was evident, but he tried to stay strong for her. After what felt like eternity, Dr. finally emerged from the operating room. He is alive, but he is in a coma. We have done everything we can. Hearing this broke down even more, her tears falling uncontrollably. Officer, Mr. Kim, this wasn't an accident. Someone deliberately tried to kill father. I had missed all his cows there, completely forgotten about one. His phone had been buzzing non-stop, but he hadn't checked in an hour. And the maid finally called Mrs. Kim after some time. They picked up the call. His voice so when Liver turned, the news hit him like a ton of brake. His eyes widened in shock, and he froze for a moment, unable to process what just happened. What? His voice barely above a whisper, as if couldn't believe it. He turned to his stepmom, his expression full of disbelief from when she had a baby. Mrs. Kim surprised, wiping her tears. She had a baby already. Taehyung, I can't believe. Send me a photo when you see them, okay? Forcing a smile is my nodding. I will, mom. I need to go now. He sighed deeply, guilt weighing heavily on him. At the hospital, Ning approaches man carrying flower and basket of fruits, but his smile fades as he sees one mom standing at the door. Mother, I have here to come to see Vine and the baby. Cold crossing her arms. You are not going in there. Shout, what? Please, I need to see them. His step clear bleeding. Once mom's done, where were you when she needed you the most? Taehyung, you ignored your wife during her labor, during her hardest moment of her life. Taehyung, eyes swelling up. I didn't know I was at my father. He had an accident and mean to. Please let me see her. Once mom, her voice rising, angry, didn't even pick up her call. She cried for you, Taehyung. How do you think that made her feel? She went through it all alone and wait. I think we were neglected her for your work during the pregnancy. Taehyung, tears falling, voice breaking. I regret it every second. I need to see her apologize. I need to be there for her and the baby. Once mom hesitated, looking at her tear-streaked face, you abandoned her in the most important moment of her life during her pregnancy. All the time. How do you think I can trust you now? Pleading hand collapsed together. Please, I made a mistake, but I love her. I love her child. Let me fix it. I will make it right, I swear. Once mom sighed deeply after a pause. I don't know if she is ready to see you, but for the sake of the child, I will allow it. But now, she stepped aside reluctantly. Thank you. Inside one's room, one is laying in the bed, her face pale and tired, the baby sleeping beside her in a small grave. She looked up at Taehyung, enters, her eyes rested. Then softly approaches the bed, chugging. While avoid his gaze, her voice low. You weren't there. Kneeling by her beside, guilt overwhelmed him. I'm so sorry, I was with my father. He had an accident, I shouldn't have been there. Closing her eyes, tears falling, I was scared, Taehyung. It was hard for me. I needed you. You weren't there. Desperately, I know I'm sorry, I don't know how to make this right, but I will spend every day trying. Please forgive me. While open her eyes, look at him. While look at him, searching his eyes and what to say. There is a long, heavy sigh between them. Once I have a softening understand, thank you that needed you. It's not easy for either for of us right now. Relief but still emotional. Thank you for understanding. I didn't mean to hurt you. I don't know what to do. Nodding, wiping her eyes. I was scared, but I know you weren't trying. Then gently taking a step, I will make it up to you on a baby. I promise I won't leave you again. Giving a smile at a smile, just be here and now. That's all I need. Nodding his head filled with determination. I am here for both of you. Looked at her, slipping. Maybe I started feeling